Today I'm going to attempt to install this 3-stage intake manifold on this 2006 BMW Z4 3.0i. And I've not done this before, but hopefully when we get through the process you guys will have an easier time doing this yourself when you go do it. So let's get started. What we did was we removed the left side strut brace here, and then I pulled out the top half of the intake filter box, which is just a matter of unclipping these latches here. And then we actually had to pull out the bottom. There's two little rubber grommets here and here. So what you do here is you pull on the outside of this when it's down in here, and then you'll see the grommets start to flex, and then you can pull one out at a time and pull it out. And so you see now we have a lot more room here to start taking out the rest of the intake tubing, and then that'll be able to take out the manifold. Alright, so we just removed the rest of the intake rails, I guess, and you can see there's the throttle body. I think that does have to come out. Looks like you can just remove each one of these 10mm bolts here to pull that out. So I'll start up again once we have this out. Alright, so we just pulled out the throttle body, and it was actually pretty easy. There's just one wire you need to disconnect from it on the outside. And then you just unscrew 10mm bolts on these four corners here, and then it literally just pulls right out. The only thing you want to watch out for is just make sure you don't lose the little washers that are on those bolts. So as long as you're careful with that, pretty easy to remove. Alright, so before we go any farther, one thing I want to point out is these two wires here are what are going to plug into the DISA valves on the 3-stage intake manifold. So you're going to want to go ahead and mark these so you know which ones to plug them into. This one here to the right, that's closest to the interior of the car, is the one that goes into the large DISA valve on the front, facing the outer side of the vehicle, whereas this one plugs into the smaller DISA valve facing towards the engine. So you want to just go ahead and mark one of them so you know where they're going to go after you install the new manifold. So we just disconnected the DISA valve cables, and each one in the stock setup will have a little clip on it like this. You want to go ahead and take that off so that you can actually plug these into your DISA valves. It looks like up next we have to remove this clip here that connects to where the throttle body came in. I think there's just two clips on either side that you squeeze to pull that out. Here we're trying to remove the, I guess, electrical box that is underneath everything. We're just trying to slide it off these two clips here. I think it just goes like this.
Maybe it stays back too. I don't know.
Alright, so we originally tried to remove this by unlatching these two clips, which I think would be the easier way if that would work, but we was just not able to do that. So what we had to end up doing is going in and manually unscrewing it using a Torx 25, I think it was.
27.
Torx 27 bolt. There's a bolt here on the support and over here, so you just need a ratchet and a 1-inch extension for that, and we were able to get that off. So you might have luck getting these clips off, but ours just would not budge, so just keep that in mind. One thing you want to note is that you have to remove this foam covered air oil separator tube, and this is in the back of the engine valve block here. You just got to give a good squeeze on these clips here and then pull out towards you. And then also you're going to want to disconnect this hose here from the intake manifold using a Torx 25 bit. So we have everything disconnected now. We just pulled out the two electronic fuel rail wires that were here, pushed them down under the manifold, disconnected all the clips to the fuel line here. So we should be good to go. Start removing this. You're going to want 11mm ratchet bolt here to take these off, preferably a deep well so that you can have enough room for that screw there. So go ahead. We're going to go ahead and disconnect all these and then show you what that looks like. So we finally got it out. It ended up being a bit more difficult than we had anticipated. One of the hardest things to remove was this brake line, and it connects to the master cylinder over there, and disconnecting it from these 2 points here was definitely not easy. We also had to disconnect one of the wires that went into whatever this is. And yeah, there's just some stuff that there was another electrical line that we also had to, there's 2 Torx bolts that were right around here that we had to unscrew as well. So yeah, this was by far definitely the most difficult piece to unhook, so just keep that in mind when you try this yourself. I don't know if there's an easier way to do it. We had the thing actually halfway pulled out, and that gave us a little more angle to unhook it, but just keep that in mind.